love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm
immortal. Testing 1 2. Sound check 1 2 1 2.
I'm so gone, no I'm never turning back. I won't stop, I'ma fight until there's nothing left. It's so on, you're gonna be hurting bad, cause I've been to hell and back. You don't wanna make me mad, I stay strong, you will never see me crack. And if you get in my way, you're gonna feel the wrath. Gotta say it to my face while he's looking back. Mirror breaks after math, when I hate I attack. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. 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 Don't be scared. Just give me up. Don't be scared. love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything.
We will be starting soon. Just going through some technical stuff right now.
Turning back, I won't stop, I'ma fight until there's nothing left. It's so on, you're gonna be hurting bad, cause I've been to hell and back. You don't wanna make me mad, I stay strong, you will never see me crack. And if you get in my way, you gonna feel the wrath. Gotta say it to my face while he's looking back. Mirror breaks after math, when I hate I attack. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. 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 Don't be scared. Just give me up. Don't be scared.
Good morning, Grizz. How are you? Thank you for posting a comment. That just helped me kind of figure out the problem I got right now. Appreciate that. And welcome, not a member. Good morning. That's my fault. Oh man, I've just been here chatting away. Appreciate you telling me that. Sorry, I caught that a little bit late. All right. Yeah, I did not turn it on. I don't know if you're talking right now or not. Yeah, I was. No voice looks like you may be speaking. Only music saying, okay, I appreciate you guys being patient with me. Can you see XDB and BPro? I would be happy to do that. I just want to cover these indices real first and get into Bitcoin. Maybe take a quick look at Ethereum, and then we can jump right into whatever you guys want to look at. We heard you earlier for a moment, a few minutes back. Okay, yeah, I am back. Okay, thank you guys. All right, I just messed up something there on the chat. Let me pop that out again. All right, we're good. All right, so I don't think anything I said got heard, right? Dollar is looking okay. We're getting a bearish retest there. Expect prices to come down on that, which would be beneficial for us, right? Bitcoin dominance is the one I'm really looking at. And let me get back to my normal candles that I really like. They just kind of take all the noise out of it. So what I was saying here, we're in this area where a lot of people are calling for an altcoin season, right? That we may get rejected here, come down. If that happens, definitely we would get that altcoin season. However, I want to take you back on the Bitcoin chart, and then we'll compare these three. And I'm looking back at 2019 because we're kind of in a very similar circumstance. And let's get back over here. This is the... Okay. Maybe I should go back to regular candles on this. Do we have that? All right. 2019, right over here. So a lot of us are looking at this area. We came off our bottom of 2019, came up, and we're kind of in that same situation, right? And it's kind of an iffy point. At a key level, could easily come down. What happened though, we did come down, and then we took off. All right, Bitcoin went from what, 7? It doubled, almost up to 14,000. And so the point I was trying to make is, let's go back and look at dominance at this point. So back in 2019, we're at the same area, right? May, June, this is when it took off. Okay, dominance was topped out at this area. We're thinking the same thing. We actually got a little mini altcoin season there in June, and then dominance in Bitcoin took off, okay? What happened to the altcoins there? Let's look. This is June 19th, and Bitcoin went crazy to September, right? So if we go to our total 2 at this time, and here we are in June, altcoins did get that little bitty pump to June 24th, then they tanked. Okay, Bitcoin took off. All the money was going into Bitcoin, and it left the altcoins. That is a situation that I can foresee happening here in the near future. Okay, so what I was saying the whole time my mic was off is that my intentions for playing this, looking at total 2, it looks like we will get a little bump up. There's some good signs here showing that we'll get a bump up. We are still in a bearish pattern. Now, we did have a bear trap here, broke us back into that. Now, when you see that, when price drops to the downside of a bearish pattern, looks like it's busted, it's broken, suddenly it goes back into that pattern. And even though it's bearish, it's a very bullish sign. And a lot of times it signifies that we will get a nice bump to the upside. I am expecting that in the short term for altcoins. So let's say for like the next week or two, we could see some increase in altcoins. Now, I do not necessarily think that they will outperform Bitcoin, but my plan is actually take profit on a majority of my altcoins, the ones I'm not holding for a long term that are packed away on my ledger. But the ones I do have on the exchanges, I'm planning on probably dropping about half of those positions into Bitcoin if it is profitable for me compared to where I bought them, or at least into stable coins. Because I foresee that Bitcoin is going to steal the show again, just like it did in 2019. And that leaves altcoins behind. And it's not going to be until Bitcoin gets to a stable area, top point, and starts trading sideways and consolidating, that we'll really see where altcoins start to rise and really start to shine and start to go up for those gains that we're looking for. So if we get any kind of rise out of altcoins, from what the charts are telling me, it looks like as though it's going to be temporary, as Bitcoin will start to steal the show. All right, now let me just go ahead and let me cover one more thing. We'll go to MBT. Now this is the futures for Bitcoin, CME futures. And this is where you hear about gap trading a lot, where we come back to fill those gaps. So back over here in June of last year, we had this gap. This is currently what we're filling right now. So these areas right here, 28.8 and above, will be some heavy resistance areas. What I do like about that is that we are smack dab in the middle of this cloud. It does have a tendency to pull us up and spit us out on the other side. So I am looking at that. The only thing that I am concerned about, or that I am looking at, we did have a gap here, but we came back, we closed that with a wick. So we got this one out of the way. We came back, we had one here at 19.5. We traded up and then we came back. We filled that one. But on the daily, and I'm very curious to see how this plays out, we created a new gap here right around 20,002 and 20,008 while we were filling that same gap before. So I'm curious to see if it's going to be important for them to try to drive prices back down there. But what I'm seeing on the chart, man, this Ichimoku cloud looks strong. Now, this is the futures. We can go ahead and go over to Bitcoin and look at that on the daily. And our indicators are telling us, we're coming down a little bit. So we don't have that strength. Probably won't see a lot of huge movement this week out of Bitcoin. There's some chances that we will see some downward action over the next few days here. But overall, things looks like it's pretty good. It's holding this trend line extremely well. Let me get rid of that Fibonacci so we can see this a little bit better. And let me switch back to my candles because they are a lot less noisy. All right. And it's showing we do have some strong buy pressure here at these levels. So probably this week, very good chance just to kind of trade sideways. Now that will help with our altcoins as Bitcoin just kind of levels out. But I would really, really like to see us get above this area of about 28.8. But once we do that, that's a very key level. And once we do break that area of 28.8, I think that might be the point that we see Bitcoin start to shoot off to those higher areas, 30,000, 32,000. All right. Now, quickly, I'm going to take a look at Ethereum. And once we see Ethereum really starting to take off, then we'll start seeing it eventually pour over into the other altcoins. But Ethereum is a very good indicator to look at for an upcoming altcoin season. And right now we're just kind of trading sideways. And let's see, take a look on the weekly. The weekly still got a little bit of room to go up, although, this rising channel, that is a bearish pattern. So we got two choices here. Either, we break down bearishly out of this pattern and come back down, to areas of 1400, or if we're really bullish and our moving averages are suggesting that we are, the Ichimoku cloud is suggesting that we are, if we get a break above this trend line, breaking bullishly above this bearish pattern, mostly what you see is a parabolic move. Meaning that happens, we're going to get a good price jump out of Ethereum and may come up to retest these areas looking to the left about 2,500. Those are the things that I'm looking for right there. Okay, now let's go back to the chat. We have some requests there. Let's go ahead and take care of those. And if I remember, XDB. Oh, XDB. That one has been a very interesting play. I do have a small bag of this. It seems to get smaller and smaller each time that it makes a new bottom. I would really like to see it stop making new bottoms. So I'm on the weekly here, and now looking at the weekly, we may be finding its actual bottom. It is really hard to say with this one. Money flow is still kind of going down, so there could be some more downside action there. VWAPs are starting to come up, stochastics are at the bottom, so there is a good chance that we can find that bottom. And so now we can come down to some of these smaller time frames, come down to the daily, get a better feel for what is going on. But it's been very disappointing that bottom here, it looks like it was going to do good, came back up to 0.0036. It was right here when we lost it at 0.0019197. So this was a Head and Shoulders, and that's where I had my video that's got a lot of views, a lot of people that are really gung-ho about this coin. I don't think it settled very well with them, but it's played out. It just kept dropping us, and this project was like it was dead. Now, they did have Twitter Spaces today. I'm going to go back and listen to more of that. The only thing is, I hear about your plans, but I don't have evidence of the development. So I'm not safe in calling this coin dead at all. It could make the biggest comeback of all. Who knows? Crypto's a crazy world. But just the fact alone that they haven't really done a lot of developing during this bear market, it's typically not a healthy sign. So that's what's got me skittish on this. And coming down from the prices that it was down to, what is that, a tenth of a penny? That's a pretty big drop, right? But let's look at what the indicators are saying. It's not about what we feel, it's about what the charts tell us. But the charts are telling me that, yeah, even on the daily, this one's still got a little bit more downside that it could go. Let's see if we can hone in on that. Get a little bit better feel. Let's come down to the 4 hour. I want to really check my moving averages here. Now, tripping back up here to the daily. This thing is not officially in a bullish zone until it crosses above this 200 moving average on the daily. It's just not. Until it does that, it is bearish. So we can expect more downward action until we actually get above this point, and that point is 0.0036. So for anyone really looking for a safe point to get in on this, look for it to cross that 200 on the daily. That would be a much more safer entry for anyone. You're not catching the bottoms by any means, but if this one does as well as everyone hopes and expects it to do, what is that? That's nothing. You're still at what, 0.3 of a cent, and if it goes up to 50 cents, are you going to complain just because you didn't get down at 0.013 cents, 0.0013 cents? You're still in such good money and taking less risk. Whereas everyone that's just trying to keep buying, if it keeps going down, that $1,000 you put into it, $750, $500, $350, $80, it starts looking ugly. So a confirmed reversal of a trend is your best option, in my opinion, on this. So now let's come down to the smaller time frames. Okay, so we just got a bullish rejection here. A bearish rejection here at the 200 on the 4 hour. Now, just as I said on the daily, that crossing the 200 on the daily pushes us into the bearish territory, if you pay attention to the 4 hour, and you can do this, wait for it to go above the 4 hour, I would look for this blue line, the 50 moving average, cross above that, and that would be a good buy signal. Right now, the 9 just crossed over the 100 bearishly, crossed over the 21. It's getting ready to cross over the 50. If it does that green one crosses over this blue one, we're coming down. We're going to make a new low. Or at least nothing else, retest this 0.001136 area. And that would be the first area I would look at for a possible bottom. But it just hasn't shown me that it's hit bottom yet. And let's just take some Fibonacci's here. So it's testing the 786. Now, if it can hold that, you got a chance. If it drops below this 786 area, that's when you're definitely starting to look at this area, the 172.000969. That's my oh crap target. And so if this 786 does not hold, definitely look at that, and possibly down here, 0.00076. Let's hope that we don't see that scenario play out. But that's what I'm looking for out of XDB. I've got to start seeing these moving averages cross. Now, let's get rid of the Fibonacci. And I want to look at my Ichimoku cloud. What's that telling me? We got a little bit of green here. That's coming from this area over here. And then we turn red again. There's a chance that we could, I mean, just going by the cloud, you know, this 786 area, it may work for us. We may come back up, retest that 50, bust above it, and then we'll be cycling through these moving averages. If we can get above this 0.00137 area, then that would be a good sign. We got our moving averages crossing, and then we will go up and retest that 200. So that's what I would be looking at there, seeing if we can get some kind of double bottom at the level that it's at. Because if it breaks down below this level, we're looking at 0.00113, and then on down to those lower, much lower time frames or targets here. I would really hate to see that. So hopefully the Twitter Spaces today may have given some information about where they're going and maybe some development or partnerships that they got coming up. It sounded interesting for the little bit that I did listen into it. So I do plan on going back and doing that, because I've had a lot of questions about what this coin is and what it does. And I do know a lot of you guys are really into it and believe in it. I've just got to see a little bit more out of this before I feel comfortable about really standing behind this project. Last thing I want to do is recommend projects for people, and if fail on them, I'm here to kind of help guide you as far as what to look at that is helpful and what to avoid that may be harmful. And this one's got a lot of stuff to prove to me. And let's see. Oh, well, I lost my chat again there. Not a member, could you speak at Matic, please? I can do that. Let me go ahead and take a look at B-Pro real quick, and then we'll just go into Matic. Matic is one of our top 10 coins I normally go over. Don't really have to on this show, though. Okay. B-Pro. And let me just go back to the weekly here. Okay, weekly is looking maybe just well, I'm not going to say it's weak, it's sideways. Sideways action here on the weekly. Do have some buy pressure coming up. That's good. And our 9 weekly moving average crossed bullishly over that 50. That's a good sign. Came back and retested this moving average and also the support level. All right, let's zoom in a little bit on the daily here. Okay, so now we're still under the 50 moving average, so we need to get above that. Good thing is the 100 across over the 200. Haven't really yet retested that. Now there's a chance, and if we look at our indicators here, we can see that it's got some downward action coming over the next few days. We are on the daily chart. I would foresee us probably coming back to 0.01133, maybe retesting this area at 0.0126. Definitely could happen. And let's go ahead and throw up a fib level just to kind of see where that is. 618 comes here at 0.001377. Now it's found support there, a lot of buy pressure there. It would be great to see that act as support and then drive us up, and that very well could happen. That's also corresponding to this 9-day moving average. Found support there. Just got to see that green line cross over that red, and then we'll work on crossing over this blue, and that would be beautiful. Okay, so maybe a little sideways before we start going up. Got to let this kind of red dot here on Market Cipher play out just a little bit. Some of that downward movement or sideways movement kind of play out, but it doesn't look bearish to me. It looks like it's reclaiming its ground, and this Ichimoku cloud is very thick. And like I said, when it gets real thick like that, you don't see it dropping down. You don't see it dropping down up here. It's just big and thick. Oh, it acts like a big old magnet. Now it's going to take a little while for that to happen, but I can definitely see some higher prices out of that. Now, the Fibonacci area that I just took right here just gave us 2 very good targets for short-term traders. I would be looking at, if you were just trading this, these two levels right here, 0.00166 and 0.00178 as some very good targets to take profit. And let me just take a quick look on the 4 hour. 4 hour is looking actually kind of strong. Still indicates more sideways movement here, I believe. We want to see it get above this 200 on the 4 hour, and that would be 0.00144 area. Got a good chance to do that. Just got to see how this Ichimoku cloud plays out. I think that we'll probably come up and retest that area, and if we can break up above it, that's what we need to see. We are finding support here on the 50. That's good. Got support on the 9, which needs to just come up and cross that 100. And then that 21 right here, this area right here. If we can see some more upside, if we regain this area of 0.00145, we can definitely see some more upside. Otherwise, I'd be looking for maybe retesting some of these areas trading sideways in a range of 0.00137. But it does not look bad. And let me just zoom out here and see what we've got as far as possible patterns. This one looks is it a head and shoulders? You could make the argument, but I'm going to say this because I'm a little picky on these things. I've got to have a solid neckline and a head and shoulders. Should that be a head and shoulders, you want to see this left shoulder. Let's put that on a color that we can actually see. You want to see a head, but then you want to see the right shoulder lower than the left shoulder. That's not what we got here. We got the opposite. The way head and shoulder pattern works, and the inverted head and shoulders or whatever, you got your initial price pump, you got it coming up, and then what makes it complete is that we're trying to get back up and we can't make it past this area. That drives the prices down. We got the opposite going on. I'm not counting this as a head and shoulders or a complex head and shoulders. The only shoulder I've got is here. I've got this for a head, and then I've got a higher, what may be a shoulder. Now, could I be wrong in this play out? Of course. Looking at my other indicators though, no, I see us as going to the upside. So that does not fit my definition or Bukowski's definition as an inverted head and shoulders, in my opinion. I would be looking at a target area of 0.002388 though, because price loves to go retest that Fibonacci level. And if you wanted to front run that a little bit, 0.002144 would be an excellent target. However, it's a good chance we can come up to this 786 with that big green cloud spitting us out on the other side. I would reserve a little bit of room to take profit at 0.00273. All right, so that's basically what I've got on B-Pro for the time being. I think it looks fine, just trading sideways. Just trying to establish some ground, get a foothold for some higher prices, in my opinion. Although on the daily, it's saying that we can come down and retest these areas. So we may see 0.00127 somewhere around that this week. Quite possible. Now let's go ahead and move to Matic. Now, if you guys have a preference for a particular exchange to look at these or a particular time frame, by all means, let me know. Off the bat, I'm probably going to go to KuCoin, but I have no problem looking at whatever exchange. When you do these charts yourself, or even if you compare mine or some other people's work, what we put on our charts, always compare it to the chart on the exchange that you're trading. And the weekly says we're, a little bit bearish there on the weekly, and it has been. We've been coming down. Okay, let me just back off of this a little bit. So came out of a falling wedge, and we've been going up. It's just been sideways, right? On the weekly, we are in the middle of this red cloud. To me, that's a great sign. Like I said, usually spits us out on the other side. We have already got green over here. This is showing me good signs. When I see a thick red Ichimoku cloud that we're in the middle of, and then I see a little thin sliver of green on the other side, Usually what that plays out is a sign that we're going up. So this week in the market overall doesn't look very adventurous to me. It looks like a sideways market overall this week, so far from what we've seen. But in the coming week, over the next 2 to 3 weeks, it's starting to look like it may be pretty good. And as I mentioned earlier, that is when I'm planning on taking some profits. This area right up here, about $1.91, is still in target. Let's go ahead and check out the new data that we've got there. And, that comes in close to this 1618 area for this move. I'm going to add these other targets, 174, 183, and maybe 195. We'll put those as possible targets to take profit. Let me get rid of some of this old work that we've got here. Now, looking on the daily, we're retesting this 100 moving average, and we're flirting with breaking down to the downside of it. Let me bring back my indicators. Chances are we may do that. Okay, so if we do, we'll be coming down to retest this 200-day moving average. That's just how price works. We lose that 100. First area to look for is that 200, and we could find support there and then start working our way back up. But it's in a great place to trick us all, because we got our 9-day moving average right there with that 100. And let me see if I can blow that up. So unless this 9-day crosses bearishly over that 100, we are good. This could actually be like a double support area. We could find support at 109 before going up. However, we do see these wicks. So we can definitely wick down to 107, but we want to see our candle closes. That's what we want to pay attention to, where our candles actually close. And closing above that 100 is an excellent sign that we'll probably struggle with this area for a little bit, but over time, maybe later this week, maybe next week, start moving up into these higher areas in this cloud, retest this 50 moving average, which will most likely by that time come in about $1.17, $1.18. Overall, the alts, they're not going to be as impressive this week, in my opinion. It's going to take them a little time just to establish their foothold from what I'm seeing on the charts. Okay. Let me grab the chat and put it back out here. Peek at Matic, we did. It's almost been a leading indicator for the alts for the past couple of months. Yeah, I can agree with that. And that being said, with the sideways motion, I think it's going to be doing that. Not a member. Sorry, we were looking at BPro or... Okay. I think we've solved that now. We looked at BPro and then we went straight to Matic. There you go. Okay, good. All right. Well, if anybody else has some requests, by all means, throw them in the chat. I'll be happy to look at them. Otherwise, I will continue down to this top 10 list. The next one coming up would be B&B, which, and just going over this very quickly without going crazy into it. A lot of FUD in the market, but we're finding support this 50-day moving average. Good chance that we could come down to 292 in that area, retest this 618 Fibonacci area. The biggest thing I'm looking at right here with my analysis is that, we had this trend line. It was an upward channel, fell out of that, came back, retested it, didn't break to the upside. So a big bullish move, not looking for that. Looking for us to come back down to these areas. And that get to where I can draw here. The 618 is going to be your main target there. So if you take a Fibonacci from swing low to swing high, that will come in about the 297 area. And then you can look at your moving averages and see they're kind of, they're right at those areas too. That just gives us extra confluence, extra support areas. I don't see it dropping much below, 295, 297 on B&B before regaining ground and trying to work its way back up. B&B looks pretty good to me. XRP. This one's been on a good tear. Now, will it keep that up? The Ichimoku cloud suggests that there may be that possibility. Okay. I've got a measure move up to 63 cents. Have not seen that. It did come up to our little take profit area. Let's see if we can just slide that over. Extend that out a little bit. And that actually did really well. Almost nailed that one. 58.6 cents. I am planning on taking profit on this in this range. And I missed it here, so I do have some stacked orders just to, not selling out of it, just getting some of my capital back, because I do see a possibility that it could fall back and could take a while to get back up to these areas again. Could come down to retest this 40-cent area. And these Fibonacci areas should be pretty accurate there from our last time. Let's go ahead and look here. I'm going to move this one down. This one's an old one. Put it at the new level here, about 43.7 cents. That's where I would be looking at. And let me get rid of this little guy. Or maybe we can just move him up here. Now, by Dow theory, when you have a big impulse move like this, price usually retreats to the 50% mark. And that's a good area to see some more upside. However, there are some areas that doesn't hold. We often see it come down to the 618 at 43.87. And in an even deeper correction, could come back down to just a little under 40 cents. Now, I think that's very probable. Now, I do have a trend line here that may lend to give us some support about 44, 45 cents if that holds. There are some good signs on the daily that could indicate some more upward action. When we see this blue 50-day moving average cross over that 200, that is extremely bullish. However, price could come back down to these areas and retest them before getting there. When you trade the moving averages, you often see that if we lose support here on the 9, your next target would be here at this 21, which is also coming up to a support level and close to the 618. So 45 cents could be. But right now, it's currently in a situation where it could surprise us all, because it is finding support here at this 9-day moving average. It's finding support here at the 50-cent area. So interesting to see how this plays out, but it is telling us our indicators are tired, going to reset. We'll just have to see how far down that it does come. Next coin on my list is Cardano in the top 10. Got a nice little boost off here at the 618, found support there. Things are looking actually good. Moving averages are getting tight right here. We are above the 200 on the daily finally. That's a bullish situation for a bullish scenario for Cardano. We do have this trend line. It came back up and got rejected. Okay, so that will give us some sideways action over the next few days as we kind of establish a foothold here. But I foresee, Cardano could come down to around 35.5, 36 cents in that area, just to establish its footing, and then we can slowly see some more upside from there. So I think we're starting to come out of the woods on Cardano. I would have loved to seen it break back into this pattern and show us something really bullish. So I'm not seeing anything mega bullish, but I'm seeing something that, we've got our foothold in. And if we zoom out to the weekly and just see where we came from, we broke out of a falling wedge. And basically, we just came back and retested it, which this pattern does about 64, 65% of the time. Come back and retest the breakout area before going up. And this pattern does have a measured move, which now that we have a breakout point and retest, should take us up to about 54.8 cents. So let me go ahead and mark that little guy as an official measured move there. Come back now to the lower time frame to see it a little bit better. And that's it right there. That's kind of what I see for going on with Cardano. A chance to get up here to 52 to 54, but I do think it will struggle and take some time to get there. The daily indicators are tired, looking as though they do want to kind of trade sideways for a little bit. Money flow is still kind of in a middle area. We want to see that, kind of start edging up a little bit. We want to see this VWAP start going up, see our stochastics find an area and start turning up. And, they could come all the way back down here to this zero area to retest again, or reset. So sideways on a lot of these alts this week's what it appears to be. But it's not a bad thing. It's just them establishing a foothold. Next coin on my list is going to be Doge. I got taken in by Coin Bureau, man. I was so disappointed in that. He had a video come out, I believe it was Saturday, April Fools. SEC hacker. Hacks SEC, finds out a few little odds and ends and that they are the biggest holder of Doge. Never seen him do a prank before. He got me. So I reposted that on my Telegram group. I've taken it off because I don't want any misinformation on there. But, he got me. I thought, you found something. And, I need two sources to validate something. That's just what we do in journalism. But I should have done a little bit more diligence on that. He got me. That's embarrassing. But Dogecoin. Currently at 9 cents. So we got a nice little pump up. Got a retracement here. Pumped up to our 382 Fibonacci level. Pretty cool. It's looking good, guys. It really is. And here on the daily anyway. Let's pull up our indicators. Indicators, they got a little bit more room to go up. And we can see that. We see we're getting rejection. We're going to see some sideways movement out of this, just like we are on all the altcoins. But the fact that it got above these areas, and there it is, our 200. We're above the 200 daily right now. As long as we can keep that, as long as we can keep our candles closing above 8 cents, things are looking good. As our moving averages start crossing over these areas, that's when we'll start seeing a bigger pump. And don't see that happen in the next day or two, but coming up. So let's do one more thing. Let's take a move from there to this current top. And, we could retest this area at 0.0777. And it looks like it already has on the daily. We could retest that again, retest these areas. But things to me are looking fairly good with Doge. It looks like it's getting a good start for a future move there. Do I see anything that's really going to throw me off on Doge? Take our trend line and see if it matches up here. And you see how those angles matches up really well there. We can redefine some of these. And so get rid of this Fibonacci. It also has confluence, a target area point at 12 cents, 12.5 cents. Just got some confluence on that, and also at this area at 11.3 cents in that area. Good take profit areas on Doge. So we broke to the upside of, it's like a falling wedge, a little bit kind of like an ascending triangle, just depending on how you do it, but it doesn't have a solid line there here. You could look at it both ways. Measured move for this would take us up to 15 cents. So that would be wonderful for Doge to hit 15 cents. And that would be a great place to take your profit and have a little moon bag of this that you have nothing in. You have no risk in it. Buying around 7 cents, selling at 15 cents. Take your money out, let it ride, baby. And that's how I like to work these altcoins. Okay, so Doge has got some promise. Altcoins, in my opinion, do have some promise over the next 2 weeks. It's just that this week is not playing out that great for them. Just kind of sideways, just kind of establishing our foothold. We did Matic. We can go with Solana, which has been struggling. It's starting to look a little bit better. I will feel much better about Solana after it reclaims this 200 moving average, but we can see that it's been in a falling wedge pattern, has been struggling to break out of that. It actually has, and now it is riding that trend line, and it can keep riding it down. Let's be clear about that. That could happen. However, this other trend line needs to be given it support, also have our moving averages right there with it. we could finally, maybe this week, come back and retest 2186 at that 200 moving average. May finally, hopefully, break above that, flip it as support, and then we can start slowly working our way up to the measured move for this larger pattern. The measured move for that would bring us up to about $41. This could be taking months to get there. But things are starting to look a little bit more positive for Solana. It really struggled right here for a long time. And moving over to DOT next. This one's an interesting one. This one is actually one of my long-term holds, and I've got this one staked out on my ledger. Getting into this about $4.50 on up to about $5.50 is where I did the majority of my accumulation on this. And right now on the daily with this, it's looking good. We got 100 crossing the 200, extremely bullish right there. If we go down to the 4 hour, we'll probably see where the blue crossed over the 200, and we've got that. That was the buy signal there. Things are looking good. Let me flip back to the daily real quick. So we're finding resistance at the 50 moving average. What has happened is that we had a rising megaphone pattern, a rising broadening wedge. Those are bearish patterns, and we came down to our measured move. It did very well on that. Came down to 525, came back up and retested it, and now we're just trying to establish our footing to figure out what else we're going to do. This has played out, and now we'll see what else that it's doing. The biggest thing, the bullish things that we got is the crossing on these EMAs are saying some really good possibilities for some more upside. It will just take it a little while. It may have to retest some of these moving averages. Right now, on the daily, I mean, we just got to see the 9 cross that red one, the green one cross that red one, the 9 cross that 21, and then we should get a bump above that 50-day moving average here at 630. It's looking good to me. Ichimoku cloud's looking nice and thick, and I could see us coming up to 662 again to retest that area. Maybe flip that into, support. That would be great. And then we can look at some of these higher target areas. Some of the areas I still have very valid. I would be looking about 787, and for some short-term targets, 686, 708, and then coming back up to this area about 745. And then again to 787 as some possible targets for people just kind of trading it more short-term. Litecoin as just, wow. For a coin that everybody counts out as dead and no use case, I'll say this about Litecoin. It's a slow mover, and it can be a slow performer. But it's got potential because it's decentralized, just like Bitcoin. It's a copy of Bitcoin written on script language instead of, based on script instead of the SHA-56. And I actually have a Litecoin miner that has just been sitting dormant for the last couple of years, doing nothing. It needs to be hooked up. This is like a dark horse. I wouldn't rule it out, but it's worth looking at. It stood the test of time, and it's still right around the top 10. Now we dropped out of a bearish pattern, came back and retested it, and we're hanging around, trying to establish that foothold. We are above the daily 200 moving average. This is now in bullish territory. 9 is over the 50. So next one we got to see cross that 50 would be that 21, which is now crossing the 100. It's showing me it's got some bullish signs. It will probably ride this trend line that it's retesting, just keep riding it up, and probably until it comes around to $102, $105 and retest this area. That's actually what I see most likely to happen with this particular coin. And coming down to the 4 hour, it's telling me that we've got some sideways action, and we could retest these areas. $88, it could happen. I would look first at retesting $90. That's where a 50 moving average is. Most likely, that's when I see retesting here about $90. Our moving averages are starting to get in line and in order, and then we can move on up to $96, $95, $98. Litecoin still looks good to me. It's just for this week, next few days, And probably trading sideways on just about every altcoin that I can see. All right, I'm not sure that my chat's working. Let me go ahead and refresh that and see if we got anything new here. Okay. All right, so I don't see anything else going in chat, but if you guys do have a request, by all means, just bring it up. I'll be happy to look at something. And let me take a quick look, see if there's anything that I just want to kind of put out there. Bear with me just a second, guys. One that I still may do a video on, but we'll go ahead and cover it here, since this show doesn't get as much viewership yet as my regular videos. It's kind of being a little front run for you guys. Or iChain. The price has come down on that one. So let's see what is going on. And we're looking at the possibility of doing a rounding bottom shape. And it still could, because this is kind of subjective. But for right now, it is broken past my points. So I'm counting this out. Now, when that happens, that usually spells maybe down and sideways. We could possibly be seeing some more down and sideways action out of this. There was another parabolic move that did not play out. When they do play out, the parabolic moves are extremely strong. But usually what I'm finding about this point in the market, we usually only get about 2 to 3 steps in there before it breaks down. Now, currently, the best that I had here was this kind of makeshift falling wedge. I wasn't really impressed with the touches that I've got there, and I guess we can kind of see why now, because it expanded out. Now let's see if we got some better touches. A little bit better there. Almost touching there. Do have our touches there. It does touch here. Now the bottom one is doing very well. So, all right. This one, man, this one could still come down just a little bit more. Now let's see what it's doing here. We take a fib level from there. It looks like we are on our way down to about 347, 348 area for iChain, which I'm very impressed with this project, and I've been actually getting more of this and moving it over to their wallet and to their ecosystem, because you can stake it. This coin does have a limited supply. If I remember correctly, I think it's about 19 million. So less available than Bitcoin, and it is an AI play. Very interesting ecosystem. I expect to see a lot more coming from this project in the future. Not financial advice, just financial opinion, but it's one that I'm actually starting to get a little bit more involved with. Let me drag over our buy zone from the previous areas, and you can see that's right where we are now. So we're retesting this area. We are riding under this trend line, and there's a chance we could break out, but it looks like it really wants to come back down to about 347. And man, I'm telling you, if it does come back down to this area about 260, I am stacking this up. So those are some 2 areas. Let me go ahead and make a copy of this guy. Wrong one. Fibonacci's a little too much to look at right now. Make a copy of this guy, bring him down to this area right here. Okay, so I'm still looking at building some bigger bags of this. Because they got some pretty cool DeFi plays over there with some good returns at the moment. So that's my play on this. But it does look like it could come down. It is not going to be bullish. Well, it is bullish because we've not broken down past this 200 EMA. I was on the 4-hour chart looking at the daily. It's probably going to be the best place to look at this. Very possible we could come down to this area, retest this 200 moving average. You will see price do that on every time level. Always retesting the 200. So if you're ever looking at a project that you really want to get into, looking at that 200 layer area on the daily and the 4 hour will really help you navigate some good areas to get in on whatever project you're looking at. And at this point in the market, we're able to do that. Or iChain, yeah. Definitely see some more downside for or iChain, but I see that as an opportunity. All right, going back to the chat real quick. Grizz says, Zen, please. Sorry, I'm listening while working, so I haven't been real active in the chat. That's fine, Grizz. Do what you do. And taking a look at Zen, I'm not familiar with that one, and I like that. Not a member says, working and watching here also, and I've been trading land. That's interesting. We're talking about like Sandbox. Is that right? Had some nice moves, but having such low volume, I'd appreciate your feedback charting it. Be more than happy to do that. I've been very interested in land and how that works, and I haven't went into that ecosystem yet. So yeah, let's check that out. Let's go with Grizz, taking a look at Zen. Zen, if you see charting crypto or get on his chats before I do, let him know I appreciate it. He is a good guy. And Zen, so who would have this longer? I would say Gate.io probably would have the best history on that. Wow, hockey stick. Okay. Let's see what we can find out. Okay, here we go. Get on Poloniex because they got more of a history there. So I know nothing. Wow. That is a huge hockey stick. Well, I popped in on the 4 hour. The 4 hour indicators before I even see the chart. They're looking fairly good. Where did you go? There we are. Okay. Oh, okay. So overall, when you look at it, man, it looks scary, didn't it? On the daily, though, that's looking nice. All right, so you got my curiosity on this. I've got to see what this is. I'm guessing this is it. Zen Crypto, which did not pull up. Infinite maximum supply, at least according to CoinMarketCap, and 9 trillion circulating supply. The only thing, now for me, this is just me personally, but I try to stay away from projects that start getting into the billions and billions and trillions and trillions. And let me say why. Cardano is one of those extremely huge supply out there, or maximum supply and circulating supply. It's kind of like when you look at your blue chip crypto, you know, your Bitcoin, your Matic, and all of these that have so much money in their market cap that it's so hard to move them. You kind of get that same effect with the ones that put out a real huge supply, like Shiba and all these things. And it takes a lot to get those prices to move when they have such a huge circulating supply. However, this one is actually moving, though. This does not tell me what it does. $25 million market cap, so that's a decent area. All right, let's just go ahead and jump into the charts, and I'll look at some more of the fundamentals there later. What I do like about this on the daily is the money flow is starting to come up to the upside. Stochastics are kind of up, so I mean, it's very real that you get a pullback to the 17.4 area. And I think that's 5 zeros and then 174. That very likely could happen there. 200 moving average is probably, it's not even on the chart yet. I'm very curious to see where that's coming in. All right, daily, or the 4 hour, let's go take a look here. Now the moving averages, this is beautiful. This is eventually what you want to see on a chart when it comes to moving averages. If you look over here to the left and you see where I've got them, green, red, blue, white, yellow, that's the order I have them in, and that's the order that they are. Green, red, blue, white, yellow. beautiful. But now, and that's actually a sign that you might want to take a little profit when you see them spread out in order like that. So let's look at that possibility too. But that's beautiful. Beautiful on the 4 hour there. If we could see the other altcoins do that, man, I would be so happy. All right, so we pull a Fibonacci here and let's see if we can get it from the right place. That one actually looks, retest. This appears to be the best place from the very bottom swing low to the swing high that we're at now. And I'll do something a little bit different here in just a second. So 50 moving average on the 4 hour is at our 618. That could be where we come back and retest. Is a very real possibility. Ichimoku cloud starting to thicken up after this big, huge move. So what I would be looking for is if this green line, that 9-day moving average, if we fall below that, close a candle below 0.000024. When I mention this from now on, I'm going to count out all the zeros, not mention those. But if we find below that, we could start seeing these other areas, and you could take profit or maybe just add to your position if we fall back down to these areas. But right now, the 4 hour says it's got some legs, so we could see some higher targets. It could be retesting this area just under the 3, and maybe get up to 3. Just lost that. Up to the 3.6 area. And if we get really lucky and goes parabolic, the 4.45. But chances are it's going to take a little break here. At least, if nothing else, come back down and retest this 21-day moving average, which is at our 382. Now, that's good. Now, if we see support there and we get a bounce and start heading back up, that could be a sign of a very strong move. So the 236, extremely strong. If it does not break below this 9-day moving average and we keep going up from here, that's strong. And that could indicate an even larger parabolic move coming. It's possible with this, but again, these parabolic moves are kind of subjective, but right now it is in a parabolic structure. So as long as we don't break below this 0.0, I'm doing it, aren't I? 0.0000209 area, it could be working on a 5-step parabolic move, and maybe we're lucky to get at least 3 steps out of it. We got 1 step, 2 step, there may be another one. That third one's usually your biggest move. So on the bullish scenario, I mean, get that line drawn there, break out of that area, yeah, that could bring us back up to this area, 0.0000445. So I'd be looking this area right here, this 382 and this parabolic structure. What have we got? Can we do that yet? I don't think we can do that yet. I was saying if we could draw a trend line, you could. Yeah, that would work. Could make this your line in the sand. If you get on the 4 hour and draw a line, just touching the bottom of your candles there, the bottom of the wicks, just get an established trend line. Try to break below there, but it came back into it. That's how I would kind of play this if I was in a trade on it or looking to build a bag. Put a stop loss or a sell order if it breaks below this trend line, because that would signalize that we'll come down to these lower areas. And if we draw our pattern, that is a bearish pattern. And we're kind of in the middle here. Now, normally this pattern will break down to the downside, and playing it normally, I would say, yeah, definitely break below this, either one of these trend lines, stop loss or sell, and then buy back lower. But at this particular point in the market that we're at, comes up above this area, retest it, this parabolic structure that could play. So it is flirting with possibly going parabolic. So, man, if you gotten into this down here, you're doing good. So, even though I'm not impressed with the tokenomics, and the overall look from the big hockey stick, it looks like you nailed it. If you got in down here, yeah, you nailed it. You're doing good. So this may be a very profitable trade for you. Man, especially if it goes parabolic. So good catch. Great catch. And my buddy turned me on to it right before it mooned. Took my initial investment out, and it's all, yeah, that's the way to do it, Grizz. Yeah, if you're in crypto right now and have been for the last, let's say, since November, December, getting in this bottom area, even though people, didn't know for sure it was the bottom, you're taking a risk betting on that. But when you put the 4-year time cycle into it, that gave me enough confidence to do that, building those bags and then try and turn them into moon bags. I mean, you can make money trading, you can make money doing futures, doing leverage, but I'm telling you, if you get the chance to get in when the whales get in at the bottom of the markets, build your moon bags like that, man, you cannot beat the profit that you get from that. You have no risk in it when you pull your capital out. Grizz, you knocked it out, man. Oh, keep me updated on that. Because I'd love to hear how this success story turns out. Not a member. Let's get over to land. I think I gave some target. I did give some targets on Zen, right? But man, once you get a moon bag, who cares, right? You just take a little profit out as you see fit, as it just keeps going. I would say the biggest struggle I have with the moon bag is that I feel bad that I just didn't buy enough to sell off on the way up. Trying to, every cycle you see things that you can improve on in your own system and your own trading. And if I could go back to November, December, I would have went in just a little bit more heavier instead of being a little bit more spread out into a lot of different coins. But I'm very happy with how things have turned out. But man, Zen, you worked that, Grizz. You did a great job there. Perfect. Played that as a pro. All right, let's look at land. So we have land share and we have land box. And at first glance, I was thinking that had something to do with sandbox. If you can give me some clarification on which one we're looking at, that would be great. Right now, I'm going to go over here to CoinMarketCap and just type it in. And I'm guessing it's land box. We have land share. Land share. Okay. Total supply 3.8 million, maximum supply 10 million. And you've already got my ears perked up there because I like low supply coins. Can't trust this one for giving me circulating supply. Market cap 5 million. Oh, I see the appeal just from the tokenomics aspect, and it got up to $10 before. So definitely could do a 5 to 10x out of this. A lot of people say it's looking like it's ready to pop there. Okay. Used to, they would give you a decent definition of what this does, and now it just doesn't seem like it's. You got to dig deeper to find out more about these coins. Turn real-world properties into asset-backed, yield-bearing, and fully tradable asset tokens on the Binance Smart Chain. Interesting. I'm sure Gary Gensler would have lots to say, but let's not worry about that. Okay, so land share, and let's look at Gate.io there. Nice on the daily. So a nice rounding bottom. You cannot deny that is a nice rounding bottom. Came up, flagged. Now some people call this a cup and handle, and I do not. But it can be something similar. Not going to get into that little argument again. Okay. Yeah, it definitely has a nice rounding bottom. Now, rounding bottoms pay the bills. When I learned to trade, that's what my mentor drove into my head, and this is a perfect setup for that. Nice rounded bottom. And if you find one that kind of has a falling wedge type pattern in it. On some of these smaller cap coins, it's hard to see because you got so many wicks and got all this noise, right? But it is there. So we'll find a candle close and see what we can match up. It's good. And and we'll play around with our trends. Okay. I see some touches there. It's there. Okay. Rounding bottoms. And then you have your moving averages down here at the bottom, and you're looking for the blue in the crossover, the yellow on the daily as your buy signal. That happened. This one's ready to rock. So it's just now getting started. Now it can pull back to these areas, and it probably will. Okay. But it's just told us I'm ready to go bullish now. So if you got in down here at 65 cents, oh, you're doing golden. And if not, you might have a chance to get in at a better price under $1. It could happen. All right. So let's see what we got here. So we came up to this area, came back, found support 618 at $1.18 in that area. Great, good sign for more upward action. Okay, so I'm seeing that. Now I want to draw this trend line. And I'm looking for a bottom area that we may come down to. Now the moving averages are telling me that, we're finding support currently on the 50. We're in this cloud now. So I'm seeing a chance that we'll come back down. Now, how far will we come back down? Or what will we do here? And I like to pull another Fibonacci just to see what's going on. We almost made it up to the 618 and coming back down here. Okay. Give me just a second and we'll get some targets figured out here. Now, as far as overall and upward targets, I mean, you're in a good spot. I'll just roughly saying what I see to happen, possibly to happen short term, without getting into all the fibs and everything, is retesting this 200 moving average. You're going to do that at some point. Okay. So prices could come back down to around $1. So if you wanted to add more to your position, a good possibility, as long as the price stays above that 200 daily moving average, we're bullish. Okay. And great place to buy those dips when we come back to that area. It looks to me that we will retest this area just around $1. Now, as far as some upward targets, short term, I love the fibs. And you will see me do this and do it because it's accurate. It hits 2.93 would be a good short term target. Now, if you're holding this for long term, it could do some serious damage. 319 and 364. A long-term target, just from the information that I have here. And that was his all-time high, right around $9 there. So if this is like a long-term play, you'd be looking at this 0.5 here and this 0.618 and this 0.786. Those make excellent take profit areas for a long-term play, and even up to the previous all-time high. So if I were moonbagging this or something, these are some areas I'd take out, a little bit, 5-10% at each stop, or maybe more. It's your bag, you can do what you want to do, but 474, 570, and 721 for some long-term targets for that. 293, 319, 364 for some shorter-term targets for the swing trader. Now, there's a measured move from this too, because this could be an AB equals CD type move. We got found support at the 618, and that takes us up to these areas that we've got there. So that's giving us some confluence. So out of these three short-term areas, I would look at about $3.20 would be a great take profit area for land. And buying in anywhere around $1 to add to your position would be a great place. Looking at our indicators, they're wanting to pop. They're moving up on the daily. That's looking good. MACDs looks delicious. It's not official, but we're getting that crossover there. Histogram's coming up, and then as soon as that blue line crosses over that red one, it's on, baby. It looks good. So you may see some sideways action out of the altcoins, like, we will this week. 4 hours saying, yeah, definitely could see that. Could be coming back down. It's saying here to about $1.35 just there. But then again, that crossed. Those would be the first areas I'd look at, about $1.33. But I do see a chance it could come back down to the $1 area, retest this trend line before shooting up to some of those higher areas that we're looking at there. So we can fine tune this with the Fibonacci, and it's going to be confluence there at 133. Might be one of the better places to get in, and $1.20. Just on the chance that it doesn't make it down to that $1 area. And when I'm doing this, when I'm position trading and trying to build a position, I'm finding these key areas to buy, and then I'm stacking, my orders this way. My heaviest, biggest orders down at the bottom, and sometimes they may not even get filled, and that's fine. And then a little bit smaller order, a little bit smaller, and I just pyramid them up like that to build a bag. Let's go back to the chat here. Land share, not a member, the micro. In at the 60s and took profit. Oh, you're out? So if you got in, you got in at the great price, the great places. Because you got your buy signal right here at 51, and so if you got in, and right here is about where you got in 65, wherever. Yeah, great way to play that. So if you've taken profit, whether you're still in it or out it, you did good on that. You did great on that. If I were here trying to find a profit area to look at, what would I have done if I were here? I'll be looking at a low. Catch that. Would that give us a little too early there? Then we start getting into our multiples of 618. That was a good move. I would be looking left is what I'd be doing at some of these wicks and support areas. That one right there. How did that match up? That matched up pretty well as a target. So there's lots of ways to get targets when you're looking to take profit. It sounds like you already know. If you already took profit on this, you did good. I like to look at Fibonacci's. I like to take measured moves. Measured moves are usually very, very accurate. So fib levels, and then I also look at the moving averages, but it's always important to look left at previous support and resistance areas. So there's lots of ways to find targets that actually get hit. And non-member says, left my initial investment. Okay, so it sounds like you made a moving bag out of it, like you took your capital out and letting it ride, and that's, I swear that is one of the best strategies to playing crypto. It really is. And that's been my goal for this cycle, to get myself established in these projects low as possible and make moon bags. I'm still waiting to make some moon bags on several projects I've got. They get so close, but just not quite there yet. So hopefully this next run-up that we have, this little short run-up that we were talking about earlier, I'm hoping to be able to do that on a lot of the projects that I'm in. Okay, guys, I think we've definitely covered the top 10. I do want to take a look at one thing here on CoinGecko. I normally do for the Crypto Insight show, and that's just look at the winners and losers, the gainers and losers here. Put this at the 300. We can look at the 100s, the top 100 coins, and see what's going on. Doge is up at the top here, doing great today. That actually really is good. It comes up to a dime. It hasn't been there for a while. SXP, Injective. I like Injective. Mass Network, Frax Share, Bitcoin Cash, surprise. Shiba, Lido, Curve, Cardano, even Thorchain. That's one of my big bags there too. Losers have been Caspa. That was on a tear. It just needs to cool off a little bit. Aptos, Hedera, Zilliqa, XRP, EOS, Monero, XDC, and Internet Computer there. I do normally like to look at the 300s because I like to see what some of those degen coins are doing too. Anything else different there? Flex coins in their picture, Icon, IOTX, Alchemy Pay. That's another one that I'm actually leverage trading. Floki, Injective, Dogelon Mars, Mass Network. Some of our losers have been Evmos. I hate to see that. I got a bunch of that in a airdrop. And when that sucker came out, I think it was about $4 to $6. Man, that helped me build so many good bags over on the Cosmos ecosystem. It was crazy. But to see it at 35 cents, wow. I still have a lot of that there staking, but it was a great airdrop at the time. BitGert, Caspa, Aleph Zero, Aptos, Ecomi, Dexy, I guess. Not familiar with that one. WeMix and Blocks, Keep Network. Just some things to kind of keep your eyes on there. All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and call the stream for the day, but I appreciate you stopping by. Appreciate you interacting with me. If you could, hit the like and subscribe. If you're not already a subscriber, definitely does help. Appreciate you leaving any comments and participating in the chat because that does help. Trying to help this show get a little more legs. If nothing else, I want to do this at least once a week, targeting Monday, just kind of get a week at a glance. I'm trying to do some more live streams, maybe some more toward the late night, and I don't know, still trying to figure this out. But it just seems like I can cover a little bit more ground with the live stream, but they just don't get as much exposure as my regular videos do. So trying to figure all this stuff out. Appreciate you guys stopping by. Until next time, my name is Lane, your crypto road dog, helping to guide you through this crazy world we call crypto. You're in at the right time, and you've been watching Crypto Insight. Thank you for tuning in.